out, trying to hide the breath. Yeah. No, 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 not today. So I plan not to play. And I'm going right. And I'm so very sure this is my last goodbye. A faithful love is someone who is true. But a playful love is what I'm going through. So I got to put you on the left hand side. I put you on the left hand side. I put you on the left hand side. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Sharon Weller from Perth, Australia here. Sincere apologies for today. Today is one of those days that nothing went right from the time you wake up to right now. So, yeah, sincere apologies, everybody. And to make up for missing my 4 p.m. live broadcast, I decided to do a very late one since nobody is broadcasting at the moment. Anyway, yep, like I said, my name is Sharon Weller, coming to you live from Perth. I am a trusted seller, and I am here to help anybody who wants to learn about anything about TBC. Now, if you've had one of those days and you've planned it out, what you are meant to do, you write out the list. Here's my list. You write out a list of things and you go through your list, and then next minute you get a phone call because you are meant to be at a certain place at a certain time for a certain test, and you totally forget about it. Well, that list and anything else that you have planned has gone out the window. So that was the start of really the end of my day, because after that it was catch up all day, playing catch up. And it's horrible, you know, when you've got things that you have to be at a certain place at a certain time, or in my case, I went around, I had to do blood tests, which I hate, because I've got veins that are very narrow and very deep. So the first thing I ask, if I am sent to pathology or diagnostics where the nurses do not know me, as I say to the receptionist, I have very deep veins, very narrow veins, and my arms always played out. So send me your best. Otherwise, they're going to go, you know, digging around trying to find a vein, and you walk out there with a whole lot of patches, you know, sticky tape patches. And one day I was at actually I was at Joondalup Hospital for 8 hours trying to so they could get a little bit of blood out of me to do a blood test. And ever since that day, it has put me off. But I became very well known throughout the whole hospital over that episode. Not one of my favourite days, especially after having a heart operation. And then you've got to go and have blood tests done. Okay. And then they can't do it. And then you're freezing, and then they don't know what to do with you. So they try everything. They try warming your body up, warming your hands up, ring the doctor, even my GP, and insist that they couldn't, you know, can Sharon Weller come back the next day? And he went, no, I want that sample right now. Wow. Let's just say me and that doctor had words after that day. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And of all days, it's ugly weather outside, and you're running from place to place to place to get there on time. makes you want to just go back to bed and not think about it. Anyway, before the chaos started, I was watching the news, something I don't do very, like the first thing in the morning. I'd rather, it was just mindless TV, really. But on the news in Australia, Centrelink, which is the government social welfare department. I don't know if this is worldwide, but are going to start taking facial what do you call it? They're going to take your photo, okay? At first, so that is the start. They want to take your photo. Now, if you are on social welfare of any kind with Centrelink within Australia, you don't have to have your photo taken. This is the first, okay? So I looked at my husband and I said, and now it begins. Because we all know what the end result is. It's going to be the chip. So that was a wake-up call for me when they said that, that every beneficiary of any kind has to have their photo taken. And you can't say no, because if you say no, you don't want your photo. It's just like a license, having your photo taken for your driver's license. That's fine. And your photo taken on your passport, that's fine. But to have your photo taken for to see your benefit of any kind, that's rubbish. But apparently, you don't agree to the photo, you're probably going to get your benefits stopped. So that is the start. I knew that was coming. Just was wondering, how long is it going to take? Now, so that was the start of Centrelink. There was, previous to that, there was absolutely nothing, no discussion, nothing came out in the news that's on TV, nothing came, through the media, no matter which media outlet it was, there was absolutely no notice given. So it really makes you wonder, what is going on? And so I thought, okay, like I said, turn around, said to my husband, now it begins. We know the end result, and that's going to be any beneficiary that is on a Centrelink payment. Now, in New Zealand, Centrelink, the equivalent is WINS. So like I said, the end result, both countries have already said what the end result is, and that is you will get a chip in your hand over here, and it's the size, the chip is the size of one tiny grain of rice. If you know how big a rice is, it's tiny. It may be the size of that tip of that pen there, this part here. That's how big it is. Now, in that chip, that will hold everything, every detail about you. Your name, your age, your address, your mobile number, your telephone number, where you live, your bank accounts, your tax file number, your doctors. Every department is linked to another. It's probably got your passport number in as well. So, and it will definitely know what pension you're on. Ultimately, when that happens, when the government has that much information, they won't put your pension into your bank account. No, they'll stop doing that. They will control your pension. And more than likely, this is the way the world is going, that you will only be allocated X amount of dollars to spend at a grocery store or supermarket, and there will probably be only a chosen number of supermarkets where you can buy groceries to live on. Now, and the scary part about that part of where you can spend your groceries, governments have been doing that for a very long time. They just don't like to put it out in the media. I mean, I was out in one store in New Zealand. I was out shopping, and a beneficiary went in. A beneficiary is a person that's on a pension, okay? Went into the supermarket, and she got stores, well, shopping actually. And I literally watched one checkout operator, and I think the name of the store was Super Value, I think. Super Value or Super something. Now, I can tell you that the checkout operator or one of those, that store had a checkout operator and a person who bags the shopping. I can't quite remember. I don't even know if that store exists now. But anyway, because that person was a pensioner, they literally went through her shopping and took out items that what they called were luxury items, and she wasn't allowed them. And I just stood there and I was dumbfounded. And I thought, my God, they're doing that already. Now, this was 10 years ago. That happened 10 years ago. That's why I literally got a shock that these checkout operators could do that to this woman who was shopping, and they took these products out of her trolley and said, "No, ma'am, well, they didn't even say ma'am. No, you cannot have these items. They are considered luxury items." Pardon me. I looked at them. Ice cream, a couple of bottles of fizzy drinks. I remember the fizzy drinks, Fanta, and I remember the ice cream. And she had 2 little children, so I know who the ice cream was for, but according to these checkout operators, they were luxury items, and that was 10 years ago. My God. Now, thank you, Dr. Joe, for joining me tonight. He's just told me that they can't do that now. They cannot stop you. Well, they can't even, go through your items, but they can stop you from buying cigarettes. I mean, I totally agree. I can't stand cigarettes of any kind. I have a respiratory problem, so anybody who smokes I struggle to breathe, and there they are smoking cigarettes. But anyway, that's their problem when they get older. So, and yes, like I said, that happened 10 years ago. Well, I was pretty blown away by it. I mean, I should have said something. I don't know what, but because the actions of these 2 checkout operators was so quick, that I just stood there and I was like, man, where am I? Anyway, so getting back to the Australian government announcing that all pensioners of any kind will now have their photo taken. I was like, yeah, there's only two times that you have to have your photos taken. One, and this is by law. One is for driver's license and the other is for passport. Well, apparently, if you receive a pension of any kind in this country, you have to have your photo taken. If you photo taken, I can guarantee you will not get that pension. So that is the start. I was wondering how they were going to implement that, how they were going to force people to eventually they have no choice to have their hands chipped. Well, I'll tell you what, people, you do have a choice. You don't have to have your photo taken. You don't have to have that chip in your body. That's so disgusting. And to do that, come join us at TBC, the Billion Coin. You do have options, you know. You just got to know where to find out where your options are. And those who do not listen about this, and there's lots of people out there, you know, there are lots of people that some are just thinking to themselves, oh, there goes Sharon again. What is she rambling on again? But, you know, if you are government dependent on social welfare, it is not an ideal time to stay on it. Look for the alternative. Look for something that is going to be, that's going to help you further down the line. I know that, to me, I look at my TBC as like a retirement fund, okay? That's how I look at TBC. I don't trust no government, especially the Australian government. I do not trust no government retirement funds, no government insurance funds, because when it comes to insurances and the normal citizen, if for argument's sake, I came into this country about 5 years ago and I started paying life insurance, and something happened to me and I got hurt. So I tried to claim on that insurance. They are not going to pay out. No matter what, you know, how hurt you got, no matter how much money, of your taxpayers' money you paid towards that insurance, they are not going to pay out. You want to know why? Because I only been in the country for 5 years. So I've actually come into the country after the cut-off date that allowed New Zealanders to get a pension of any kind from the Australian government. These are the questions and answers that unfortunately a lot of us Kiwis don't know. When they come to another country, they don't know the laws of the country unless or until something happens to them, and then they have no choice but to go seek out financially from that country exactly what they're entitled to. And right now in Australia, a lot of Kiwis come across, you know how that saying is, the grass is greener on the other side? Yeah. The sun shines brightly on the other side, but the grass is greener back home. Because if you do not have help that's in this country, if you do not have the help of family that's already established in the country that you go into, especially Australia, and you just come over with the bare necessities, with the dream of making it a better life or creating a better life for you and your family, and something happens and, everything is going really great and you're saving and everything and your family is doing much better right now, and then suddenly you have an accident at work, and then what you thought that you would be entitled to, no. Unless you physically start saving and put money aside for a rainy day, unfortunately, you are not entitled to nothing. If you have only been in the country for about 5 years. There's that. And you know what? In countries like South America, unfortunately, they don't even have a welfare system. So, and you're going to find this out. There are certain, when it happens, when the chip happens, and then all the people of the countries have to get chipped, you're going to find out who's entitled to having their body chipped and who's not. So, and when I say chip, I mean that's when they're entitled to payments from the government, and those who are not. That's when you really find out, who's going to get the handouts and who isn't, which is really, really sad. It is very, very sad how the governments can actually decide, who gets what, when and where, more or less. I'd like to say hello to Marianne Murphy. Good evening. Thank you for joining me. And Lauren Judy. That's a new name. Lovely to see you on my live broadcast. Very sorry it's really late. But yes, so got a shock to hear that this morning. Wake up to hear that news that the government is now going to start taking photo IDs of anyone that's on a pension of any kind. Do not know when it's actually going to start. I would give that a couple of months before it starts. It comes into full effect. But I think it's been about 3 months when the government announced that the chip was actually coming. So give it another couple of months, and then they'll instantly put a broadcast out there and saying, right, to receive your pension, you now have to have your photo taken. You don't have your photo taken, I can guarantee they'll stop it. Which is really, really sad. Makes it so much harder for people. So, yeah, like I said, you plan for your day, and all you need is just one phone call, or, and here's my list. I have to make a list of what I've got to do, the things I have to do, the bank, the medication, the doctors, tests, pay the power bill, and so forth. Forgot the power bill. Just as well, I ran out of medication, and I thought, yep, got to do the medication, got to do the blood tests. Every week I've got to do tests. I am so tired of doing tests of any kind at hospitals, blood tests and so forth. But this is what we have to do. Jules Ann, lovely, lovely, lovely woman. She goes through doing so many tests herself. Um, we laugh. We're both related. We're both cousins. We laugh, and because you've got to. You've got to laugh at yourself. I laugh at her. She laughs at me. I say to her, "Oh well, what are you going to wear tomorrow? Put a silly hat on or something like that." If you do not laugh, because we both know that we have to keep ourselves, we must not let ourselves dwell on the other. So, and we're too busy anyway. I mean, we're too busy with TBC. And thank goodness we both got TBC in our life. Sometimes it's overtaking our life because, we're a bit too busy trying to get from one live broadcast to another live broadcast. So I will never make Randy's broadcast, not no more, because his is my 2 a.m. in the morning, which is something like 6 a.m. in New Zealand, or 5 or 6 a.m. in New Zealand. So I leave it to Jules. Jules tells me all about it the next day when I'm wide awake. Or I watch the replay and try, by the time I get up, I'm trying to play catch up. And unfortunately, that's what we do. I mean, it's fun. I get to see quite a few of my friends on the internet, on YouTube, on our chat shows, and before I said to my husband, and now I have a habit of showing my husband. I said, and Marianne, I had to show my husband because I was watching something and your face came up, and I said to my husband, "This is my friend." And he said, "Who's your friend?" And I said, "This is Marianne." And then he said, "I don't know Marianne." What? I know he doesn't know Marianne. And I said, "I know you don't know Marianne." I said, "But she's my friend and she's from South Africa." And I don't know, there must have been something. But I really like this picture. Okay. I think that's, hang on. It's not a good picture there, but it is a lovely picture on my phone. So he looks at everybody on my phone. Darren Hayward, another, and I said, we all have something in common, and that's TBC. And I said, we're all scattered around the world, yet that brings us together. I mean, Darren's in Sydney at the moment, doing the tourist thing with his family, and beautiful, the videos he was showing us. Absolutely beautiful, because when I left Sydney in 2006, some of the places that Darren had visited, they were in the building stage. So they weren't completed when I moved back, moved out of Sydney. I think I had enough. So, and then I just said to him, I have got friends in different parts of the country, of the world, and that's what brings us together. So when we have a crazy day, like I've had a crazy day today, and it's probably going to get, looks like July is going to be a very, very crazy day. I've got in July, a cousin and an aunt's birthday in July. Oh, crap. That's so nothing's going to work. And then with everything that's happening with TBC right this minute, there's a lot of excitement, and we just have to wait. This waiting game of things to happen, like especially tonight, 10 o'clock Perth time, we're having a Zen meeting tonight, which is when our mentor, Randy Wilson, tells us the latest news in TBC. That in itself is excitement. I will be glad when 10 o'clock Perth time happens, because then I will hear what's the latest news. But till then, it's like, oh my God, what's he going to tell us tonight? So I'm going to see who else is going to be having a live session up until that time, and then jump on and just, it's lovely when we have other TBC members jump on our live cast and just seeing their names when it comes up from the chat room, because it uplifts you. And that is a wonderful, wonderful feeling. So, and I've got my husband and my son that's both waiting up there, because this is the time that we usually sit down and have a chat for the night and see who's done what. So I want to thank Doc Joe, Laura and Judy, and Marianne Murphy for joining me this evening. I'm going to jump on each and every one of yours liveys if it's any time after mine and before Randy's. So thank you for coming into my show this evening. Thank you for listening to me ramble on this evening. I don't think I've ever had a late live broadcast, so this is a first. Yes, and keep watching about what the Australian government is doing to social welfare beneficiaries. They don't actually call people that. They say pensioners. If you're on a benefit. No matter what word they use, it still sounds the same. Anyway, this is Sharon Weller saying good night to you all from Perth, Australia. Please join me, and I promise, no, I won't promise, because I try to keep my live broadcasts at the same time. I will be there at 4 p.m. tomorrow, Perth, Australia. Join me then. Sharon Weller saying good night. And thank you for listening to me. Bye.